Hello, Blues. Welcome back to SlamDunk. Sorry, I haven't been there for a little bit, but we are back now. I'm ready to go. I've got admin Dan with me today. How you doing, Dan? You okay?
Yeah, mate, not too bad. Living it up on a nice sunny Friday.
Yeah,
It's bloody miserable, isn't it?
been awful. Been awful. Okay, so we're gonna do a bit of a shorter one today, guys. And see how it goes. Just a couple of little rumours that have been going around. Not too much at the moment. I think everything's been centred on our appeal at the moment with the Champions League. So I'm gonna throw up a fairly new one that's just been going round at the moment. Let's call it Real Madrid fullback, but on loan at Dortmund. Hakimi. Obviously, I think everyone's been watching a bit of the Bundesliga since we've been back on. Been trying to sort of catch an eye on him since the news has sort of broke that City apparently a 50 million euro bid is going in for him. I'm hoping it's not another fullback session again where we spend God knows how much money on these guys. He is a right back, so obviously does that mean that obviously Cancelo is definitely moving? We don't know. But with these kind of stories, I think you maybe think it will. So have you heard much about him, Dan, or
If I'm not perfectly honest, I know a lot about him. Go back a couple of years ago when he first sort of came onto the scene at Real Madrid. He was never a first teamer, but he was a very, very promising youth talent that came through their academy. And his name kept popping up over a period of time. And whether you call it, just watching the Real Madrid games, we've got the games like FIFA, where you learn about them originally, and then you hear about them more in the news, and you watch a couple of youth games that they play. And I'm always interested in Spanish youth games. You won't believe how, in proportion to like our National League, League Two, League One teams, the Spanish youth system teams are phenomenal. You get like even those that play in the actual divisions like Barcelona B, the teams that they've got, these young lads that they've got, they're phenomenal. And Hakimi was one of them. And yeah, like from since then, I always keep an eye on these young talents that are coming through. Like Jose Gaya at Valencia was one of them. That is fullback that was rising up, and he's slowly maturing into that player. But Hakimi, isn't this his second year at Dortmund on loan?
Yeah, literally just reading through it now. Yeah, so and still only 21.
Yeah, he's very versatile though, isn't he? Because he can play left back and right back, but he's also played in the winging positions a couple of times this season for Dortmund. I think in replace of Sancho recently, when Sancho's been left out of the squad, he's been pushed forward a bit more, hasn't he? So he's very versatile.
Yeah, by looks of it, obviously that goes down as a pet player straight off the bat.
Yeah.
He looks powerful, strong, good defending ability, but very good at going forward, which I think now in these days, that's the main thing of a fullback under Pep. I think you need to do more attacking than you do defending. So I think he does fit the bill on that. But I think, again, it's price tag. Is he 50 million? I don't know. I don't know what it equivalents to. 45 million, 40 million, something like that, something along those lines. So, it's it's another fullback scenario we go with again. Walker is he 30? Walker now? I think he's nearly there, isn't he?
Literally just turned 30. He's just turned 30 recently. I think he had a birthday a week and a half ago.
We can see why we're going in for someone like that. I think it's one thing that City doesn't really have in their youth is cracking fullbacks that can do this.
That's what's making me think it might be a possibility it's happened, because obviously, like I said, I've known about Hakimi for a long time, and I've rated him growing up with the youth, and he's doing the business for Dortmund. He tends to be one of the first names on the team sheet for Dortmund, no matter where he plays. But for me personally, I know everybody argues about Cancelo needs another season, like the Mahrez situation, needs a season to bed in. I don't feel, and to go back to City Day's point, he seems to have an act about him. He's been to so many clubs and he's only 26 years of age. I don't feel City will ever work for him, and I think he'll be on his way out. But at the same time, I'm thinking, because we've got that Yan Couto, we paid 14 million for him, and he's 16, 17 years of age. He's
left back, isn't he?
I thought he was right back. We have signed a right back though.
Well, we have signed the right back, I think, but I'm not sure.
But one of them, whichever one it was, the right back, he's gone back on loan to his his club that we signed him from.
Standard.
So maybe that might be something Pep would be interested in, because bad looks of things for me, I think Pep's staying now before this whole European situation, everything. I think he's staying. And I think he's starting to build that team for the future. But Hakimi, for me, if he brings Hakimi in, Walker will still be number one, but ease Hakimi into being number one. So when Walker eventually leaves, we've got already first choice right back. So then Yanku, or whichever right back this young right back is, can ease into the squad behind Hakimi, and then we've got a really youthful fullback.
Yeah, which is what we need. So I think we've got. And I think if City will spend the money, obviously we can hopefully spend what we get on Cancelo for him. So I think it might be a good one for there if you agree with that. I think.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. I'd quite happily have it.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so another agreement, Danny.
I know.
So it's very weird. So then we're gonna move further up the pitch. Again, the City fan list probably. City Dave, obviously, because it looks like there's another position that Foden plays. It's Kai Havertz from Leverkusen. Don't get me wrong, very, very talented footballer, wanted by all the big teams. Only 20 years old. I seen his stats towards Sancho the other day, considering how many more Sancho's played than him. It's a worrying one, because who does it push out if we went for him? We have been tracking him for a year, from what I've been told. So it must mean that Pep obviously knows about him. He must have only just sort of been. He's probably in the Bayern Leverkusen first team when Pep was probably in the season at Bayern anyway, probably 16, 17. So he knows a lot about him. He's only 20 years old. Very talented footballer. Probably going to cost a fair bit. But, what's your thoughts? Because, again, another midfielder.
Again, with Hakimi, I've known about Havertz for a couple of seasons. Not as well. I'd only really heard of Havertz till the end of last season. But I still go back to the point, I can't remember who we were linked with. I think it was Fabian from Napoli originally. I think it was Tom that asked me what my thoughts on with Foden playing in a similar position. And I still go back to the same point. I can still see us bringing in another good young attacking midfielder to play with Foden, because let's be honest, David Silva hasn't been his best over the past 2-3 seasons, but when he eventually goes, there are some huge shoes to fill. And to go back to 2 seasons ago when we were the Centurions, David Silva was influential that season. It was, albeit he was hardly playing as many games, obviously, with what happened with his son. He was hardly playing any games. At the games he was playing, he was really influential. And I think when he does leave, Foden, he's going to have the world on his shoulders. Yes, he's going to have De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and what have you there. He's going to have the world on his shoulders. I don't think Pep wants that. And I've always said, since we found out Silva was going to leave, to get another midfielder to play alongside it, to maybe eventually implement them. So when De Bruyne starts to ease out, or if he eventually moves, which is most looking likely this summer, have these 2 young lads working well together, switched on, both 20 years of age, probably both same potential. Have them playing together, we could be set for a midfield for the next 15 years.
Very true. Yeah, even with Rodri in behind, because he's what 23,
23.
24.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like you say, I think like you say with Pep, I think obviously it's the stance now that he's probably staying. But I think I heard the other day that Tixie was saying about the Leipzig manager that they're in contact quite a lot.
Oh, Nagelsmann.
Nagelsmann. So, and I think Pep, sort of like a Ferguson at United with Moyes. I think Pep would like Nagelsmann to take City because they play such a similar way of football. I think it will definitely go better than what Moyes did at United, obviously. Yeah. But you look at Nagelsmann, very young manager. It could be that one where we could have him for years and years and years and bring up these young lads as well. So possibly looking for the future on both sides, I think there. Yeah, no, I think I agree with you with the fact that we are going to bring in another midfielder, as much as it's going to really annoy some Blues with especially Odin. But like you say, I think he does need to have that experience around him as well, where I don't think Fernandinho will be playing as many games. I think he'll be good in the changing rooms, but it's completely different being on the pitch. I think you need those guys around you because the core of the team is decreasing rapidly. I think Aguero's next to go, maybe end of next season. I really don't know. David going after this season restarts. Obviously, Vinny gone. It's kind of that new era now.
It's hard to think it was only. It's hard to think it was only 8 years ago we won the title for the first time in Aguero. We're the last remaining player from that whole team.
It's scary, a real scary thought. I mean, you technically the only one that's going to go on and be there's Brian Kidd, isn't it? I mean, that's literally the only one.
Completely forgot about. Yeah, he will be still handing out his mints.
Actually, be there is Brian Kidd. I mean, we don't know. Obviously Pep's kept his faith in him. We don't know if when we get a next manager whether he's going to. He's going to be the only one.
70 as well.
Unbelievable, mate. Been really good for us. Really good for us. Okay, so I think we're on another agreement with it. Even if it's not Havertz, it's another midfielder. Obviously, be another slam dunk. I expect where we can talk about some other midfielders as well. Going to move on to. I think I'm going to move on to Leroy Sané and replacements for the next one. I think it's pretty much done that he's going. I think we will find out more about that in the Arsenal game, whether he's even in the squad. Because if you're making 5 substitutes and Sane wasn't going, you would have him in those 5 substitutes.
Yeah, gotcha.
100%. So we'll see about that. So the two names that have come up, one more than another. So the one more that I've been hearing is Leon Bailey from Leverkusen. Quick, small, rapid winger. Obviously different size to Sane, but probably same ability with the ball. Watched him a couple of times. I think he needs to be under the right manager from what I've seen. He can get a little bit careless, but obviously if you go under Pep, you're going to learn your trade very, very well. So I don't know if you've seen much of him, obviously playing alongside Havertz or...
Again, with him, I know him better. I know about him better than Havertz because I followed Leverkusen for the past 2 seasons because of Leon Bailey, but also Julian Brandt, who's now at Dortmund. Those two, both left wingers, they've been influential, for saying they're only, 21, 22 years of age. They've been very, very good for a number of years now, and I think Bailey would be a great addition. But again, it comes down to the price tag. it just depends. He's obviously got very similar attributes to Sane, but he's not. I want to say he's not as known. Not when you think of wingers around the world, especially in the German league, you don't think of Bailey, do you? You think of the Kingsley Comans, which you've been linked to. You think of the Brandts. You think of Ganabi from formerly of Arsenal. They're the ones you think on. Leon Bailey's never really mentioned, so that makes me think that, albeit I've known about him personally for a few years, I know he's very good. Is he good enough for City? But I can't cancel that argument completely out, because before we signed Sane was only good for 3/4 of a season at Schalke, and then we signed him, and he went on to be the player he is now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Bailey's been good, very good for the past 2 seasons. So maybe this step up to this big club.
Yeah, in a good Leverkusen side as well, I think, which helps. So I mean, it could be a bit of a German Leverkusen swoop from City if we got those guys. I think the other, I think probably getting fairly good price as well. I think at the moment, So on the flip side, I think you literally said him, Kingsley Coman. I don't know. He's a tough one for me personally. He's got a good CV already. Don't get me wrong. I think he's won 3 titles in 3 different leagues. But is that because he has the best players in that league around him?
Yeah,
I think so.
We've got to remember he played for Juventus as well, hasn't he? As well as Bayern Munich. Their teams, I think. Is what, sorry?
Was it PSG as well? I think he was at.
Oh, I only ever thought he was just at Juventus. He might have been. Don't hold me to that. But at the same time, if he was at PSG, they're 3 teams that dominate their leagues. It's not like the Premier League where you've got to mix and match. Those 3 teams tend to be the only teams that win the leagues. So maybe it is what you say. He's in a batch of players that win the title for him, so it makes him look good.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's, and then obviously I think we need to see someone on the lines of like a Leon Bailey that can really prove himself and sort of go that extra mile. I've just looked. He was at PSG as well, and won. So
for me, though, as much as I like the fact that City are being linked with these up and coming potential superstars, I still go back to the same point I keep wanting to make, and that's Jack Harrison. We've gone almost the entire, we have gone so far the entire season without Leroy Sané, and we're still, as much as we are very far behind the points in terms of Liverpool, I think that's more down to the defensive side. Why not give the likes of Jack Harrison a chance? Sterling has been utter piss on the left this season. He really has. He started fantastic, but you'd hardly think he was playing. Why not give the likes of Jack Harrison, who's playing very well for Leeds, if he comes back to City? Leeds could still activate that transfer clause, which is very likely, and Leeds will be very they'd be very stupid not to activate it. But if they don't and Harrison comes back, he needs his chance, because I think he's going to be a brilliant player for City.
He's brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Just literally in the background, just looking at his stats, Coman, shocking. 62 appearances for Bayern since 2017, 12 goals. That an easy league, though. I mean, come on, you come up against Dortmund twice a season, 3 times a season, or what they do there. I mean, you got to be in an attacking side, but I mean, you look how many goals Sancho scores. Put it into context. You put it into context for Jadon Sancho, and I think everywhere he's been, I'm looking like Juventus, I think 2014 and 17, 15 appearances, no goals. No goals at all. And these teams have always been very strong for years and years and years. You know, I think you look at, you know, like Jadon Sancho, and you look at his stats and you think, well, hang on a minute. Like, you know, why did City get rid of him? By what I'm looking now is attitude. I think attitude had a lot to do with it. You know, so yeah, I'm not really too sure on Coman. I think Leon Bailey would be a better fit for me. Just personal opinion. But what do you reckon? Would you prefer Bailey or Coman?
Hands down, Bailey. Hands down. Coman for me, he's still very young. I think it was 23, 24. Coman. And Bailey's 21, 22. For me, Kingsley Coman's had 3 roles at 3 clubs that would win the titles hands down every year without fail. And the fact that he's got as poor stats as them in, like you said, as much as anybody disagrees, the German league, the Italian league and the French league are piss compared to what they were 10, 15 years ago. If he had that record at Bayern 10, 15 years ago, I'd say, well, actually, do you know what? That's not bad. But Bailey is starting to sort of make a name for himself in a lesser club. I think he's not mentioned much because of the likes of Kai Havertz, who's really stepping his game up, and he's got the attention on him. And I think he's going under the radar, but very, very well under the radar. And it takes those types of players that play for the lower clubs, I should say, that want to take their game to the big club. You know, no disrespect to Leverkusen, they're a very, very famous club. They've had a very good team for the past God knows how many years, just never taken it to that step. And I think a player like Bailey he's Jamaican, isn't he? So he's obviously come from a background that most people would look down on. You know, I mean, I can't think of another Jamaican other than Kamal Roof, who's been, you know, out there. I think Jermaine Beckford was the last Jamaican that really made a name for himself in the Premier League. If that, I think it was more Championship, wasn't he? And I think Bailey could be that player that just goes, I'm going to take every initiative here and make this club mine. But again, I'd still balance that on a pedestal with the likes of Harrison. Maybe you can have both.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Totally agree. I think Bailey will take a bite at any opportunity he gets. I think to sort of progress himself, which I think he can do at City. But okay, well, I think we'll kill it off there. We'll hit it there. So yeah, like I said, it's a little bit of a short one today, but you know, not too much going around at the moment, especially with the ban and everything going on at the moment. But yeah, I think we'll call it there, mate. If you're happy with that, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching again, Blues. Thanks for coming on, Dan. Much appreciated, as per normal.
No
and yeah, we'll see how we get on against the Arsenal next week. Yeah.
Just before we go, obviously, Blues, remember, like and subscribe. Every little bit helps. We're not Tesco, obviously, but every little bit helps. It really helps us boost our content. And, you know, when the transfer season picks up, Steve is going to be banging videos out left, right and centre. So we all need the support, and we need to get him a good pair of clippers for that beard. So we definitely need some revenue via views coming through. So so remember to like and subscribe.
Cool. All right, lovely stuff. Yeah, remember subscribe and everything, Blues. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers, Dan, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, buddy. Take care. Take care, Blues.
Take care.